These are meridians, and on these lines of energy there's specific areas that you can engage with pressure to help the flow of the energy in those lines. And all of these points have particular functions. Okay. So tomorrow, for those who are coming, I have a handout for acupressure points for common imbalances. So we're going to look at points for, I try to make it as seasonal as possible. Like there's some allergies, there's, and the big ones, you know, like insomnia, shoulder pain, back pain. Along with stretches, there's certain pressure points that are more local in that area to help address the imbalances in those areas. So there's points that are right in the areas of restriction that help with the physical pain and the energetic blockages. This evening I thought we'd share the balancing points, which are called the source points. And their points are located around the ankles and around the wrists and the hands. And what they do is help balance the whole overall energy of the body. So when we do point work, it gives us opportunity to be even more quiet when we work. So there's no movements, you know, stretching movements, but more we palpate to find these points. And on my handouts, there's anatomical direction on how to get to the points, and I'll lead you through those. And then the art is finding the point and applying the appropriate amount of pressure so the person feels the engagement of the pressure but also starts to feel the energy movement. So it's very subtle work. And it's more suited for this time of the evening because as you know it gets into the evening and it starts getting darker, we start to naturally slow down a little bit. Start to go in a little bit, so that's this type of work. So I thought we'd do that exchange and then end this evening with maybe some seated work, just to, you know, get us up and out the door. So, you know, no matter what type of work you do, or body work, you know, incorporating some of these acupressure points is quite lovely. It helps with opportunity to really connect with the spirit of the person again too, because these are areas in the body where the energy that flows through all these channels comes up even closer to the surface of the body, and that they're like openings or gateways where you can more directly affect the chi or the energy in the body. And these are the same points that the acupuncturists send. Okay, so they are able to sustain pressure with needles, you know, for a longer period of time. They lay it in there because it's so thin that it has to stay in longer, right? But we have the advantage of acupressure where we can hold these points. So, in looking at the handout, and I'll just say a few things and then ask as many questions as you need to so you're clear on this. I put the meridians grouped together in arms and legs so we can find where they're at. And they have names, for those of you who are not accustomed to this work, they have names associated with organs. And they affect particular organs via the channels. So the channels run through the body and are connected to the organs, and then the points are right below the surface of the skin, so we can affect the inside of the body deeply by working on the outside of the body. That's how we help balance the internal energy flow, by working on the surface of the body. So they have all these different lovely names associated with organs, and they're around the wrists and around the ankles. So I thought we do a little demo here. We'll do the wrist ones, and I'll show you those, and then we'll go do them, and then we'll come back and see what you experienced. One thing about this, and they're called Tsubo, the acupressure point. Tsubo. It's Japanese for point, basically. This area, basically. So Tsubos are very shy. Tsubos. They have, their makeup is that they're very shy little things. So a lot of times they're hidden in the musculature, in crevices, up underneath things. Because I think their shyness comes from their vulnerability. Because they're vulnerable because you can access the energy so directly. So they have a certain vulnerability about them. So it's like you're approaching, say, you're in the woods and a deer comes up to you, and if you really want to connect with that deer, you don't run up on it, right? It's just not a good plan. But, a lot of times you might just stand still, make a little contact, maybe gradually walk a little closer. You could maybe make some antler shapes with your hands. Anything where they recognize you as a friend, and then you approach more readily. And then, so with Tsubo, and that might work. You can try it even actually when you're doing the point. With Tsubo, we're going to find the point, and we're going to get in the general area, and then we're going to try some light pressure until the person who's receiving it feels a dull ache. That means that they're right in the point. Okay? So before we do it on someone else, let's do it on ourselves. Because this way we can get the general location on our body, and then we can work on one another. Okay, so this first set that we're going to do, it says on the top, the yin meridians of the arms. So the lines of energy in the arms, there's 3 of them, lung, pericardium, and heart. They all start in and around the chest, and they go through the arm in 3 lines, and one goes through to the thumb, one goes to the middle finger, and one goes to the little finger. And the points that we're going to do are all on the wrist crease. So if you look at your hand palm up, and you just bend your hand towards you a little bit, you'll see the natural crease of the wrist. So this is where the 3 points or Tsubos live. Okay?
And it doesn't matter which side of the body.
Correct. They're bilateral.
Okay.
So they're on both sides of the body. Thank you for saying that. So they're on both sides. So we're going to do both sides, right? So let's just see if we can do this now. So let's do the first one, which is for, it says the lung meridian, and it's called lung 9. If you look at the handout, this is one of the things about Shiatsu, and all these ancient lineages of appreciation of how the energy flows in the body. They wax poetic. I mean, it's so lovely. They have all these beautiful names associated with them, which give you an indication of what their function is. So in doing these points that are on the wrist crease, the way Shiatsu looks at the body, you could use these points for pain in the wrist. It'll help alleviate pain in the wrist. You think about it in wrist crease, we think about carpal tunnel right away. And a lot of times the energy gets stuck in the joints. So anytime you can open the joints, it helps relieve some of the pain. But also, too, along with wrist pain, if they're associated with particular organs, so these points are also helpful for the organ that they're associated with. So this will help the lung. This will help the heart. This will help the pericardium, which is a protective sac around the heart. It's like a filter around the heart. So they're not only for local pain in the area that they're located on, but also they help with the organ that they're associated with. So working on the wrist could help your lung, heart, and pericardium. Who would think? But it's true. Okay. So let's see if we can find the first one. The first one is lung 9. And if you look at the handout so that you can associate the location of the point with the direction I gave you. So lung 9 says, at the crease of the wrist, radial to thumb tendon. So if you look right below the thumb and right at the wrist crease, you'll feel a little indentation. So you all have that? So place a little thumb pressure in that indentation and then bring the wrist towards you a little bit until you feel a dull ache. And when you do feel that dull ache, just hold it and then try to relax and focus on your breath. Is everyone feeling dull ache? Say if not. Everybody getting duller by the second? Okay. So this is lung 9. So again, it can help with wrist pain, but also it can help with a better affiliation with how the chi flows to your lungs. Help.
So now that I'm feeling this dull pain, is it okay to hold this dull pain?
Okay, so you are with your dull pain.
Yes.
Okay, now what I want you to do is ease up a little bit and see what's the least amount of pressure you can use and still feel the dull pain. Because that's actually where you want to be.
If I can feel my heartbeat, am I in the right spot? Like, I can feel my blood?
That's because you're right by the radial artery.
That's okay?
See? And what's really okay is you can feel the pulse. That means you're really doing okay.
All is well.
You know, I don't feel anything. Okay, so y'all feel that?
Yeah.
So holding. So this is the exercise. We're going to feel the point, and then you're going to hold it, and then you're going to back up and keep the pressure so you can still feel the dull ache, but the least amount of pressure. Okay? So let's move to the next one. So the next one is pericardium 7, and it says it's in the midpoint of the transverse wrist crease between the tendons of the this and the that. Okay. So if you look, again, look at your hand, okay, and just bring your hand back and forth. You see these two strong tendons right through the center? Okay, so the point is in between those two tendons, right at the wrist crease, and right in line with the middle finger. So if you drew a straight line right from your middle finger through the middle of your palm into the wrist crease, that's where the point is. Okay? So one thing that helps is this. If you go right into that area and then bring your hand towards you, it'll go right into the point. So again, this is for pericardium. So you all are feeling that okay?
Is there supposed to be a dull ache again?
See. It's nothing but dullness from now until 8 o'clock. That's what we have to look forward to.
Sounds exciting.
The excitement was earlier on, and now the dullness. The dullness sets in. So these points, it's interesting too. They heal, but also these are Aikido strike points. These are Jiu-Jitsu strike points because you can disarm somebody quite easily by striking here because it makes the hand open up. So, just a little aside. So here, so you want to get into that temperament of, it's almost like your whole demeanor on how it is to support, to stimulate Tsubo. It's a very nice internalization of your own chi and your own awareness when you're engaging points. It's an opportunity to be quiet. We invite opportunities to be quiet into our lives, right, to help balance out all the chaos that swirls around Gentle. Everyone good with that? Yes. So now release. And now the point for El Corazon, for the heart. Yes, heart 7, which is called Spirit Gate. It says the ulnar side of the wrist crease, posterior border of pisiform, yada, yada, to yada. So again, if you look at your hand, look at how often have you actually looked at your hand? So much in one day. Okay, look at your hand. And if you drew a line between your 4th and 5th finger straight down to the wrist crease, and you go right in there, and again, once you're in the general area, and you'll feel you're right below a little knobby bone, that's waxing anatomical, right there. Just below that knobby bone.
I understood it.
Yeah, I do too. So you want to just bring your hand either back or laterally deviate into your thumb pressure, you should feel a dull ache. So again, if you're not feeling it, get someone's attention. Feel? Heart 7. Spirit gate. lovely.
Can you have a minute, can you explain when it's harder to feel, when it's more sensitive? Like, it's being used a lot or less, you know? Like,
Not
say
yet.
it hurts a lot, doesn't that mean that like, it's
Oh,
more sensitive?
yeah, so if it's very sensitive, it can mean a couple of things. It could be the physicality of how you're using your hand, you know. But also, too, in Chinese medicine, if it's very, very sensitive, that means one of the things is that the channel is overly full. Like it's called jitsu, where there's a certain amount of energy, and it means that it's stagnant. Like when there's so much energy buildup, it's not flowing right, so it stagnates. And when it stagnates, it manifests as physical pain a lot of times. So there's some stagnation there. So basically the work is to keep the energy moving. You know, it's really, my first teacher said Chinese medicine is very simple. Like if stuff is stuck, you need to free it up. If it's depleted, you need to bring more energy in. If it's cold, you make it warm. If it's too hot, you make it cool. So basically that's what we're doing. But stagnation is always an indication of something that's too much and not flowing right. You know, they like to use water analogy in traditional Chinese medicine quite a bit, and it's like if you if you bend a hose or something like that, when the water's flowing, it'll back up behind it, but then as soon as you release it, then it can flow more readily, so there's not that bump. So you just want to keep the qi moving forward. So lung, pericardium, and heart.
What's a pericardium?
So if you visualize your heart,
Oh, you said it was the thing around the heart.
yeah, it's the
Okay.
protective sac around the heart. And in Western anatomy, they say it's there to protect against external heat. Keeps the heart cool, protected from the external heat. So the heart does not like to get overheated. So it's a protective sac. So now the source points or balancing points these are for these meridians that run on this side. And now if you turn your hand down, there's 3 meridians that start on the hand, just like it says here. It says the yang meridians of the arm start on the hand and end on the head. So they start here and then they come up onto your face. Okay. So these yang meridians are 3. It's a large intestine, which starts on your index finger. The triple warmer, which is the 4th finger. And the heart, which is, the small intestine, which is the little finger. So large intestine, triple warmer, and small intestine.
What's a triple warmer?
The triple warmer is not an organ per se, but in Chinese medicine, they look at the body. They look at the body in 3 different zones. The upper part, which is the heart and the lungs and the head and the mind. And then the second part, which is assimilation and digestion. So all the organs that make that happen, like the large and small intestine, gallbladder, the liver. And then they have the lower zone, which is from just below the navel down, including the legs, which has to do with elimination, the sexual energy, and the grounding to earth.
That's the triple warmer?
Yeah, so that's the 3 zones.
Oh.
Triple, meaning, and it's called the Dantian, which is the 3 zones. So 1, 2, 3. And the warmer makes reference to the energy flow. So the amount of energy or heat or warmth that goes into those areas to create optimal conditioning for all those organs to operate. So the triple warmer meridian is a lovely meridian. That's like my favorite meridian right now, because what I've come to realize that it knits the whole body together. It's a very integrative channel that runs through the whole viscera of the body. So I've been working quite a bit with the triple warmer.
So as I get my clients to breathe deeply and circulate their energy with breath work,
using that in addition to it would really be powerful.
So much so, because for that reason, that it
Right.
engages all three of those zones, and it integrates the body. So, and we know large intestine and small intestine. So, the first one for the large intestine, if you look on your handout, is called a Hoku, or large intestine 4, which is, it's got good public relations. A lot of people know this particular point quite well. So if you take your thumb and move it towards your index finger, you'll see this crease here. And right at the top of the crease, if you press down and underneath the index finger, you'll feel a dull ache.
Can you show me?
I can. So here, check this out. So your thumb
Yeah.
towards the index finger, you see this crease.
Yeah.
And right at the top of the crease, you press in and underneath the index finger. Everyone feel that okay?
Yeah.
Everybody?
It hurt.
Sorry. Everyone find that okay? Okay. So again, this is called Hoku, which is translated loosely as the Great Eliminator. So you'll see large intestine, you can see why it might be called the Great Eliminator. But also the large intestine in Chinese medicine also has to do with eliminating mental stagnation. So it's a good point to help clear your mind. So I guess when you think about it, it deals with both ends of the body. From the rooter to the tutor, as they say. in certain circles. From the rooter to the tutor. And this also is contraindicated deep into a gestation period, because it can it sends so much energy into the lower dantian, where baby is residing, that it could disturb the natural gestation. But it's also used customarily during delivery and midwifery to help with the delivery. So it's very nice. Also helps, it's just a really nice gentle tonic point, you know, when you're feeling like your chi is going down, it's a good point to help. So that's large intestine 4. So everyone found that one okay? Okay. Then you look at the next point, which is for the triple warmer, and this says triple warmer 6. On the dorsum of the hand, which is the back of the top of the hand, rather, near center of wrist crease, slightly toward the little finger. So this one is a little tricky to find. So it's on the dorsum of the hand. So if you look at the fourth finger, and if you drew a line from the outside of the fourth finger straight down, just above the wrist crease, you'll feel a little indentation. And if you press in and go like this, you'll feel a little dull ache, hopefully.
You look like you're in the middle. You're not, so you're right here.
Yeah. So if you drew a line from the
Right.
outside here right down,
Yes.
just above the wrist crease, you'll feel a little indentation.
What does it mean if it hurts a lot?
That's how it was with
The pool is full.
The pool is over full. It's flowing off. You should have a lifeguard on duty at all times. There's danger lurking. Have a flotation device. A little noodle.
That one's not bothering me.
That's nice.
This one is.
So, you know, when first learning Tsubo, it's good to engage the hand a little bit so you go into it. You feeling that okay, Jason? Okay, so again, I want to say that it can help with local pain on the wrist, but also it can deal with the organ that it's associated with. Okay? Everybody good with that? So here's what I want you to do. You find the point.
Woo!
Wow.
That was vibration.
Yes, let's just hold for the duration of the buzz. Might be clearing. Okay.
Thanks, I needed that.
And then we want to make sure that when we're doing on one another that we find the point, they say, yes, that is a dull ache. And then I want you to hold that for a little bit and then back off until you use the least amount of pressure and they can still feel that engagement, because that's when you're not forcing yourself on the person. That's not when you're not coming from ego, but where you're only applying the appropriate amount of pressure. You're coming more from your heart, not your ego. So it's very nice to have that balance of pressure. The last one is for the small intestine, and if you look, you'll see the ulnar side of the border of the palm in the depression near the base of the fifth metatarsal. So it's on the side of the hand. Okay, so if you just take your thumb and just press into the side of your hand and slide down, and then you'll fall right into a little indentation at the base of the fifth metacarpal, but above the wrist bone. There's a nice indentation. And if you laterally deviate, meaning go like this, you'll go right into the point, and you'll feel that. You all feel that? That's the small intestine point. Liz, you feeling that okay?
I don't.
Well, see, now you need to ask, sweetie. If you're not feeling it, we want you to feel it. Carrie's right there. It's going to lay some pressure on it. If anybody, please just don't say yes. I want you to feel it. Yeah. Because the experience of not only self-stimulation of Tsubo is pleasant, and then having the opportunity to do it with someone else, quite nice. Okay? So those are the first 6 of 12. The other ones are around the ankle.